Yes, please, Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 14. The Disciplines of Lord Krishna. Sutta Uvacha Samprastite Dvarakayaṁ Jishnu Bandhu Dikshayaya Natum cha Punya Slokasya Krishnasya cha Vichestitam.
Sri Sutta Goswami said, Arjun went to Dwarka to see Lord Sri Krishna and other friends, and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities.
Text 2. Vyatita Kati Chinmasha Tastasdanaya Tatorjuna Dadarsha Dhura Rupani Nimitani Kurudraha.
A few months passed, and Arjun did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthir then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves.
Text 3. Kalasya Jagati Rodram Visayastatu Dharminya Papiyansim Nunavartha Krodhalopa Nutratmanam.
He saw that the direction of eternal time had changed, and this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regularities. The people in general had become very greedy, angry, and deceitful, and he saw that they were adopting foul means of livelihood.
Text 4. Jiham prayam vyavahyutam sashtam misram jasodraham Pitru suhadragram patru dampatina kalkanam.
All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating, even between friends. And in familial affairs, there were always misunderstandings between fathers, mothers, and sons, between well-wishers, and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel.
Nimitanya Tyarisdasting Kale Tvanugate Nunam Lobhadya Dharma Prakruti Drashto Vaja Nujam Nupa.
In course of time, it came to pass that people in general had become accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaj Yudhishthir, observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother.
6. Yudhishthir Uvacha Sampresito Dvarakayam Jishnu Vardhu Diksayaya Natum cha Punya Slokasya Krishnasya cha Vichestitam.
Maharaj Yudhishthir said to his younger brother Bhimsen, I sent Arjun to Dwarka to meet his friends and to learn from the personality of Godhead Krishna of his program of work.
8. Api deva shina drishta sakalo ya upasthita yadatmano
Sorry, Mataji, I think
Mataji.
you missed 7. You missed number 7.
Sorry. Gata sapta tu namasha Bhimasena tavanuja Nayati kashyava heto Naham veda pajasha.
Since he departed, 7 months have passed, yet he has not returned. I do not know factually how things are going there.
अपि देवाशिना दृष्ट सकालो य उपस्थित यदात्मानो प्रमाक्रीडं भगवानुशिशुक्षति.
Is he going to quit his earthly pastimes, as Devarshi Narad indicated? Has that time already arrived?
यस्मान सम्पदो राज्यं दारा प्राणा कुलं प्रजा आशन सप्तन विजयो लोकास्य यदनुगृहात्.
From him only, all our kingly opulence, good wives, lives, progeny, control over our subjects, victory over our enemies, and future accommodations in higher planets have become possible. All this is due to his causeless mercy upon us.
प्रश्योत्प्राप्त नर व्याघ्र दिव्यान् भूमा सदेहिकान् दारुणानुशंसतो दूरः जयं नो बुद्धिमोहनम्.
Just see, O man with the tiger's strength, how many miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by diluting our intelligence.
उर्वक्षिवाहो मह्यं स्फुरन्त्यन्ध पुनः पुनः वेपयुश्चापि हृदये अरदास्तति विप्रियम्.
The left side of my body, my thighs, arms, and eyes are all quivering again and again. I am having heart palpitations due to fear. All this indicates undesirable happenings.
शिवेशोदयन्तम् आदित्यम् अभिरोत्य नलानना मामन्दं सारमेयुम् अबिभिरे भत्यभिरुवत.
Just see, O Bhim, how the she-jackal cries at the rising sun and vomits fire, and how the dog barks at me fearlessly.
सस्ता कुर्वन्ति मा सव्यं दक्षिणं पार्श्वोपरि वाहाश्च पुरुष्य बाध्यं लक्षये रुद्रतो मम.
O Bhimsen, tiger amongst men, now useful animals like cows are passing me on my left side, and lower animals like the asses are circumambulating me. My horses appear to weep upon seeing me.
मृत्युदूत कपतो यम् अलुकम्पयन मन प्रच्युलक्ष्य गृहाणि विश्वमवेशु न इच्छति.
Just see, this pigeon is like a messenger of death. The shrieks of the owls and their rival crows make my heart tremble. It appears that they want to make void of the whole universe.
रुमादिस परिदय कम्पति भूसहाद्रिभिः निर्धातस्य महास्तात शङ्कं च स्तन्युतं.
Just see how the smoke encircles the sky. It appears that the earth and mountains are throbbing. Just hear the cloudless thunder and see the bolts from the blue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Meera Mataji, for the wonderful Sanskrit recitation. Prabhu, as usual, nicely eloquent on the English translations. Thank you both so much. Hare Krishna. So let's see how we're going to do this. So today we're going to start a new chapter. So we're going to recite the verses from the Veda base. If somebody can just let me know if they can see on the screen the first verse of the 14th chapter.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, that's great. So let me see how we do it. Yeah, so we'll recite the verses from this from Veda base, and then we'll go to my PowerPoint and then see how that goes. So I'll recite the verse, and I think both are fairly short purports. I realize now that I could actually put them on my PowerPoint, so I would have not needed to switch between the two, but it's too late now. But so I'll recite the Sanskrit and do the word-to-word and translation, and then somebody can just read the short purport. So this is the first verse of the 14th chapter. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Uvacha Samprastite Dvarakayam. Something is wrong there, right? Samprastite Dvarakayam. One syllable seems to be missing. Samprastite Dvarakayam. Yishnam Bandhu Didikshaya. Yantum cha punya shlokasya Krishnasya cha vichestitam. Word for word. Sutta Uvacha, Sri Sutta Goswami said, Samprasthite, having gone to Dvarakayam, the city of Dwaraka, Jishro, Arjuna, Bandhu, friends and relatives, Didikshaya, for meeting them, Yantum, to know, Cha, also, Punya Shlokasya, of one whose glories are sung by Vedic hymns, Krishnasya, of Lord Krishna, Cha, and Vicheshtika, further programs of work. Translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, Arjuna went to Dwaraka to see Lord Krishna and other friends, and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities. So, short purport, somebody can just unmute and read.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please, Pushti Mataji. Yes.
Purport. As started in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord descended to the earth for the protection of the faithful and annihilation of the impious. So after the battle of Kurukshetra and establishment of Maharaja Yudhishthira, the mission of the Lord was complete. The Pandavas, especially Sri Arjuna, were eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore Arjuna went to Dwarka to hear from the Lord of his next program of work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pushti Mataji. We'll go to the next verse. Second verse of 14th chapter. Yatita katichin masas tadanayat tatorjuna dadarsha ghora rupani nimittani kurudva. For what? Vyatita, after passing, katichit, a few, masa, months, tada, at that time, na ayat, did not return, tata, from there, Arjuna, tadarsha, observed, ghora, fearful, rupani, appearances, nimittani, various causes, Guru, udvaha, Maharaj, Yudhishthira. Translation. A few months passed, and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves. So somebody can unmute and read this purport, please.
Can I read, Prabhuji? Hare
Yes, please.
Krishna.
Go ahead.
Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum, more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. Millions and billions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his one breathing period. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy, and only due to the sun can we have the necessities of life. Therefore, during the personal presence of the Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence, just as there is full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun. Maharaja Yudhishthira observed some discrepancies in his kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjuna, who was long absent, and there was also no news about Dwarka's well-being. He suspected the disappearance of Lord Krishna, otherwise there would have been no possibility of fearful omens. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Krishna. Thanks, Mataji. Thanks so much. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sadhvajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Nitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Pitamsya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tatta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Swansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Chari Swami Nityanamine Snigdha Cheta Sutra Neta Vagninam Sarasapta Prabhupada Katapana Nami Bhakti Chari Param. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Prasadi Venu Vishesha Sundavadi Pasha Kadeshwata Vishesha. So right, we're starting a new chapter today. What we'll do is just look at the connection. We want to see how this particular chapter is connected to the last chapter. So in the 13th chapter, verses around from 38 to 60, those verses describe how when Yudhishthira was lamenting the fact that the Dhritarashtra and Gandhari had left the palace, at that time, Naradaji appears, and Naradaji has the ability to appear whenever he's required. So he appears there, and he instructs Yudhishthira Maharaj about coping with the situation. So in that particular section, in verse 50, he says, the Lord has already performed, this is Narad Muni speaking, the Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he is awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. So in that small part of the purport I've taken here, Lord Krishna descended personally to vanquish Asuras like Kamsa, Jantarasana, and Shishupal. And during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, almost all these asuras were killed by the Lord. Now he was awaiting the annihilation of his own dynasty, called the Yadu Vamsa, who appeared by his will in this world. He wanted to take them away before his own departure to his eternal abode. Narada, like Vidura, did not disclose the imminent annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, but indirectly gave a hint to the king and his brothers to wait till the incident happened and the Lord departed. So this is the connection. This is the cue that Narada Muni is giving, and then therefore this chapter starts, which is entitled "The Disappearance of Lord Krishna." And so here in the beginning of this chapter, Sutta Goswami is going to describe the reaction of Yudhishthira Maharaj upon him sensing that the Lord may have departed, already about to depart. So that's where we are. So now, having established the connection between the two chapters, we can just, because this is the first session on this chapter, we'll do an overview of this chapter, so we get an idea of what's ahead. So verses 1 to 10, they describe Yudhishthira Maharaj's, how he's sensing the disappearance of Lord Krishna. 11 to 20 will describe the bad omens observed by Yudhishthira Maharaj. We heard about some of them during the recitation today. 21 to 24, Arjun returns from Dwaraka. 25 to 33, Yudhishthira Maharaj inquires about the Yadus. 34 to 38, Yudhishthira Maharaj glorifies Lord Krishna. 49 to 43, Yudhishthira Maharaj inquires about Arjun's own welfare. And then last verse 44, Yudhishthira Maharaj finally inquires about Lord Krishna's disappearance. So you see, he really wanted to find out about that, but he waited. He wanted to really build up and check everything else before he asked the question. He was, in one sense, actually reluctant to ask this question because he was afraid to hear the answer. So today's verses, we've done the Sanskrit, we'll just remind ourselves of the English. Text 1 says, Sutta Goswami said, Arjun went to Dwaraka to see Lord Krishna and other friends, and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities. Text 2 says, a few months passed and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens which were fearful in themselves. So I'm not sure if you notice in the text one, when we did the word to word, there was a word used in Sanskrit, Jishno. And Jishno was, and then the translation in English, Jishno was Arjun. So did anybody notice it? And why do you think? Because we've known Arjun name, called by many different names by Krishna. Jishno is a very rare one. Does anybody know what the meaning of Jishno is? So I must admit, I didn't know either. So I looked it up. So Jishno means destroyer. So of course, Arjun is a destroyer of enemies, like Parantapa. So that's why in this word, and actually it's mentioned there that also Krishna is referred as Jishno as well, because Krishna also is in the ultimate sense the destroyer, and in his form as Kal, as time. So this Jishno, you can refer to Krishna as well as Arjuna. So I thought that was interesting in that verse. In the purport of the first text, Prabhupada begins by saying that as stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord descended to the earth for the protection of the faithful and annihilation of the empires. So, right, a very famous verse that Krishna is speaking about here. Anybody know this verse? I'm sure all of you know it. Somebody can unmute and tell me.
Yada yada hi dharmasya.
The one after that. The one after that.
Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya ch dushkritam
That's the one.
dhammasamsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Perfect. Perfect. That's the one. Yes. 4:8. Yada yada intermasi also is connected, but that's when he's actually saying that I appear whenever there is a decline in religious principles. But this is the one where he's actually speaking about why he appears. So as Mataji quite nicely recited, in the Sanskrit already done, we just need the English. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. So you see here in this verse, in this purport that Prabhupada says, protection of the faithful and annihilation of the impious. So that is the first thing, to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, unmanaged myself appear millennium after millennium. So three things are happening here. Krishna's purpose is mentioned in this text as to deliver the pious, they annihilate the miscreants, and re-establish the principles of religion. So when you think about it, actually, Krishna, to annihilate the miscreants, Krishna doesn't really need to bother. Krishna can just create a tsunami or an earthquake or whatever with a blink of an eye, and or everybody that he wanted to destroy would be destroyed. So he really doesn't need to come for that. And to re-establish the principles of religion, again, Krishna doesn't really need to come himself. He could send an agent. He can send his own empowered soul, like Srila Prabhupada, and he can spread to re-establish the principles of religion, as Prabhupada very much has done. So all those are not really the main reasons why he comes. But his main reason he comes, Krishna comes, is to deliver the pious, to actually give joy to his devotees. That's the main reason why he comes. In the purport, Prabhupada says, as far as the atheistics are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear as he is to destroy them, as he did with the demons Ravana and Kamsa. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons, but the Lord specially descended to appease his unholy devotees who are always harassed by the demoniac. And then in the purport, Sri Prabhupada continues, the Pandavas, especially Sri Arjuna, were eternal companions of the Lord. And therefore Arjuna went to Dwarka to hear from the Lord about his next program of work. Again, this is from the purport of the first text. So, eternal companions of the Lord. What's the Sanskrit term for this? Anybody? Eternal companions of the Lord. These souls are called Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated. And so there are different types of living entities. So first of all, in Nitya Buddha refers to souls like us. Nitya Buddha actually literally translates eternally conditioned or eternally tied to the material world. The word eternally in this case may not strictly apply, because as we know, living entities have the ability to purify their consciousness utilizing their intelligence, and detaching themselves from material activities, attaching themselves to Krishna consciousness, and in this way they can be liberated. So they're not, in that sense, eternally liberated, eternally bound. But the word eternally is used because we've been here for so long that it is like almost eternity. We've been here for billions of lifetimes, and that's why, in that sense, it is right to call it eternally bound. So after that, the next is sadhana siddha. So then this is when the siddha, the word siddha comes, that is perfection. So the Nitya Buddhas can, by performing sadhana, become siddhas. So sadhana siddha. So they are living entities who have perfected themselves by taking to devotional life. These are called sadhana siddhas. And then there are another category of souls who are kripa siddhas. So these souls are very, very, very fortunate souls who have actually received the kripa, mercy of directly the Lord or his devotees. And this is how they would actually make progress. And that's kripa siddha would at some point also be combined with sadhana, because when they get the kripa, they get to know about the devotional service and they get involved like that. But it begins with kripa. So these are kripa siddhas. And then is, of course, the nitya siddhas we spoke about. Nitya siddhas are souls who have already been liberated, who've reached, already been there, or first of all, either they'll never come back, like us. We came down to this material world because at some point we desired to enjoy separately from Krishna. But there are many, many, many souls, much in terms of numbers, there are far more numbers of souls who never made the desire and who are eternally living with Krishna. So those are nitya siddhas. And those souls, as is explained in this part of the purport, like Arjuna and the Pandavas, they come down whenever Krishna comes down to the material world, in any of the planets to perform his pastimes. These souls come down with him and perform the pastimes to help the pastimes of Krishna. So these are the nitya siddhas. So by speaking about this in a lecture in New York in July 13, 1976. So he says, so the Krishna conscious movement is to make the Nitya Baddhas again Nitya Siddhas. So he's using the word again, which means we were all Nitya Siddhas at one time, but now for millions of lifetimes, we've lost our way because our selfish desire. So we want to become again Nitya Siddhas. And Prabhupada then quotes this verse. Pisachi paile yena mati channa haya maya grasta jivera say dasa upaya. When a man becomes ghostly haunted, he talks all nonsense. Similarly, anyone who is within this material world, they are all madmen. And Krishna consciousness movement means to cure them by this treatment. So if anyone accepts this treatment, then he can make progress very quickly. Then moving on to the purport for the next text number 2, Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum, more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. So this phrase, ad infinitum, what does that mean? Anybody? That phrase means, oh yeah, go on. Yeah, I'll give that one.
Prabhuji, you've given the answer.
Yeah.
I was going to say for infinity.
That's it, exactly. It is. We use the word infinity, exactly.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So,
Hare Krishna.
it is, yeah, it is something without an end, infinity, exactly, without an end or without limit. So Lord Krishna he's like that, of course, no end. He's more powerful than the sun. So in the purport, he continues to say that millions and billions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within this one breathing period. So how long is one breathing period of Lord Vishnu? We know it's one breathing period of Lord Vishnu is the lifetime of Lord Brahma. How long is that?
100 years.
100 from my guess.
It's no, it's not 100 years. Yeah, it could be 100 years of Lord Brahma. Yes. So
Yes.
that place is correct. 100 years of Lord Brahma. But how
Yes.
many years in our calculation?
Oh,
377 trillion.
Shailesh Prabhu, say again.
377 trillion.
Yeah, you're quite close actually. It's when it comes to trillions, everything is quite close. But it's 311 trillion 40 billion exactly. That's the number quoted in Shastra. 311 trillion 40 billion years. So this is just one breath of Lord Vishnu. And in that one breath, millions of universes come into existence. And in each one of them, you can see in this little picture, I'm not sure how clear it is, but you can see in each one of them, he enters as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And in each one of them, the Lord Brahma appears on the lotus that will sprout. So like it's happening in millions, and you say billions actually of universes. So in the teaching of Lord Chaitanya, in the introduction, this is explained. So Prabhupada is saying there in the introduction, Lord Brahma only lives for Lord Brahma only lives for the duration of one breath. And according to our time scale, 4,320,000,000 years constitute only 12 hours of Brahma. And Brahma lives 100 of his years. Yet the whole life of Brahma is contained within one breath of Mahavishnu. Thus, it is not possible for us to imagine the breathing power of the Supreme Lord. That Mahavishnu is but a partial manifestation of Lord Krishna. So, this is just some reminder. We've done this many times before, but it's a reminder of this amazing fact. It's just beyond. It's just completely mind-boggling when you think about this. We have to just accept these facts as given in the Shastra. We can't try and reason with these things. Prabhupada continues in the purport. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy. And only due to the sun can we have the necessities of life. So in the 15th chapter, text 12, this has been explained here. Yadaditya gatam tejo jagat basa yate kilam yat chandrama se yat chagno tat tejo vidimamatam. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, come from me. And the splendor of the moon and splendor of fire also from me. In one sense, the splendor of the moon and the fire also come from the splendor of the sun. So, Prabhupada in part of that purport of 1512 saying, without his mercy, there cannot be sun. Without his mercy, there cannot be moon. And without his mercy, there cannot be fire. And without the help of sun, moon, and the fire, no one can live. These are some thoughts to provoke Krishna consciousness in the conditioned soul. Prabhupada continues in that purport. Therefore, during the personal presence of the Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence, just as there is a full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun. So, when Krishna was present, of course, the world was full of knowledge and religion. But then, after he leaves, there's 6 questions that we know. There's 6 questions asked. Right in the beginning of Bhagavatam, we learned about this, where the sages at Naimisharanya, they're asking 6 pertinent questions to Sutta Goswami. And these questions go like, the first question is, what is the ultimate good for all humanity? Second is, what is the essence of all scriptures? Third is, what was the purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance in this world? Fourth was explain the activities of the Lord while in creation. Fifth was, what are the Lord's activities in his different incarnations? And the last question was that when Krishna departs from this world, where will the religious principles be found? So this was the last 6 question that the sages ask to Krishna. And he answers this question in the 43rd text of the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto. Anybody know this word? Anybody, any Bhakti Shastri students here? Because we learned this verse in our Bhakti Shastri. Who's there? Is Palika Mataji here today? Anyways, this verse goes, Krishna Swadama Pagate Dharma Jnanadi Saha Kalau Nashta Dishanesha Purana Kodunodita. This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Krishna appeared, as we know, as after he disappeared, after he's wrapped up his pastimes, he then appeared as in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So in the purport of this verse, Prabhupada is saying, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita specifically and eradicated all pretentious principles of religiosity. And prior to his departure from this world, he empowered Sri Vyasadeva through Narada to compile the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And thus both the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are like torchbearers for the blind people of this age. In other words, if men of this age of Kali want to see the real light of life, they must take to these two books only, and the aim of life will be fulfilled. Bhagavad Gita is a preliminary study of the Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam is a summum bonum of life. Lord Shri Krishna personified. We must therefore accept Srimad Bhagavatam as the direct representation of Lord Krishna. One who can see Srimad Bhagavatam can see also the Lord Krishna, also see Lord Krishna in person. They are identical. So Krishna in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is also compared to the sunshine. And this is Madhya Lila 22:31. Anybody know this verse? Quite quotes it quite often. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Ra Adhikar. Krishna is compared to the sunshine, and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, like darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish. And in that purport, Krishna is saying, Prabhupada is saying rather, when one becomes Krishna conscious, the modes of passion and darkness immediately vanish. And then the modes of goodness, sattva, remains. When one is situated in the mode of goodness, he can make spiritual advancements and understand things clearly. This position is not possible for everyone. When a person in Krishna consciousness, when a person is Krishna conscious, he continuously hears about Krishna, thinks about him, worships him, and serves him as a devotee. If he remains in Krishna consciousness in this way, the darkness of Maya will not be able to touch him. Then at the end of that purport, Prabhupada speaks about how Yudhishthira Maharaj is now suddenly seeing some bad omens, and he becomes anxious about what's going on, and there's no news from Dwarka, and also there's no news from Arjuna. So all that will now be revealed as we go. So short purports, but straightforward these two verses. So I will stop here and invite any questions, realizations, corrections, please. Hare Krishna. In the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 10th canto, first chapter, text 16, Sutta Goswami is saying, this is Sutta Goswami of Sutta Goswami, is saying the importance of asking questions. So he says in that verse, if I remember correctly, he says, Vasudeve Atha Prashna, Purusham Purushams Trin Punatihi. Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purushams Trin Punatihi. Bhaktaram Prichakam. Bhaktaram Prichakam and Shostrings. And then at the end he says, Yatha Pada Salilam and Yat Pada Salilam Yatha. So in that verse he's explaining that questions about Krishna Katha, they benefit three kinds of people. Vaktaram, which means the one who speaks, who's speaking the Katha. Prichakam, one who's asking the question. And Shostrams, which means all the rest who are listening. And he says at the end, he says, just like, he says, Yad Pada Salilam Yatha. So Salilam refers to river. So just like a river that has touched Lord's lotus feet, which is the river Ganga, just like the river Ganga purifies the three worlds. So similarly, asking questions about Krishna Katha, he purified these three types of participants in Krishna Katha. So don't be shy. Ask questions. Yes, Panchali Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful class. Please accept my humble obeisances. So I'll just ask a very basic question. Apologies if it's not very correct. So it's about the Nitya Siddhas. So the Pandavas, they're all Nitya Siddhas. So are we to think that whether it's the Pandavas or the others who always come with incarnations of Krishna when he descends to this material world, so are we to think just as Krishna doesn't actually leave Golok Vrindavan, he actually comes as this expansion because he's able to be at different places at different times. That is the same case with the Nitya Siddhas as well. So it's not that they actually leave there and there is an emptiness in their space in Golok, but they actually come as expansions to accompany Krishna. And then when they return, they merge into their original body. Am I right in thinking so?
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And also a very quick second question. The Pandavas, now they were Nitya Siddhas, they were great devotees, but did they return to with Krishna to Golok Vrindavan, or did they actually go to the heavenly planets?
Yeah, so there's one part of the Mahabharata where it says that because, for example, it explains that when Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he had to lie, he broke his vow of not lying, and he had to lie about the elephant, Ashwatthama. Remember, he had to lie that he died, right? It is said that because of that, in some places it's explained like that, because of that he had to suffer. I think they said he'd actually say he had to go to hell for a little time. Although some commentators don't fully agree with that, but anyway, that's what's mentioned. And then, of course, they would, in some places it's mentioned that, the soldiers, the Kshatriyas, after dying in the battlefield, they would go to the heavenly planets and all that. But you see, the higher understanding, the bigger picture we can see here is that, as we know from this verse, that all these personalities came down with Krishna. We also understand that Krishna's Leela is going on uninterrupted. He's winding up Leela in one universe and starting it in another place. So in that sense, those participants are also moving on with Krishna to the new place, right? So in that, they don't really need to return to go to heaven or hell anyway. They have to just carry on their pastime with Krishna. So yeah, it's different ways that this can explain this. I hope it makes sense.
Yes,
also, Panchali Mataji, about your first question, yes, they come just like Krishna does. They also come, expand themselves and come here. But even within this universe, when they're here, they also have the ability, just like Krishna. Krishna can expand himself unlimitedly, as we know. he expanded himself into 16,000 forms, dancing and the Ras dancer. He can expand himself into unlimited numbers. Similarly, if you think about when Krishna gets married to the 16,000 wives, we do understand that these marriages didn't happen one after the other. They all happened simultaneously. So Krishna expanded himself into 16,000 grooms at that time. So we must imagine, we must also understand that when a wedding happens, the relatives are with you, right? It can't be that Krishna is having a wedding with Rukmini and all his relatives are there, and all the other weddings, the relatives are missing, right? So that would be a very lonely wedding. So all his associates also expanded 16,000 times to be in all those weddings simultaneously. So like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for explaining. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So the question from Gata Mataji, would you please comment on Krishna comes to annihilate miscreants? Who are the miscreants? What are the difference between miscreants and innocent people who are ignorant and don't know any better? How does Krishna know when there is nothing more to be done for a soul but to annihilate them? Are some just too demoniac to be helped? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Interesting question. That when the gist of the if I understand your question properly, Mataji, the gist is that you know there are different degrees of sins, I suppose you can say, and what is the criteria? What kind of miscreants Krishna is going to destroy? So yeah, I suppose you can see it like this. One example would be that the example you can take of Shishupal. Shishupal was insulting Krishna left, right, and center, and Krishna had given promise to his mother that I will allow him 100 insults, and once he's done those 100, then I will kill him. So similarly, you know, we all have, we're all committing sins and we all doing it. So see, it's like this: we got piety and we've got bad action. So when we are committing bad action, our piety is depleted, right? So once we got the piety, the depletion is happening, and maybe we're not getting that much reaction of that. But once we are committing so much sin that we don't have any more piety left to counter it, then it comes into the red zone. And in those cases, Krishna would say, right now you are a nuisance to society and you need to leave. Move on to your next life, like that. I mean, that is my explanation. I'm just doing this literally on the run. I don't have any Shastra references for it. So I would like help from anybody else who can either support this view that I've just presented or give an alternative answer. But good question. Thank you for that, Kirtan Martin.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu. Dandavat pranam to you too. How are you?
Session, as always, very informative. Thank you. Also, a humble request to all the participants. As you rightly glorified, Srimad Bhagavatam is as good as Krishna himself, and it will be wonderful if all the devotees on this call will try their best to promote Srimad Bhagavatam amongst their own context, so as to please Prabhupada immensely. This is a humble request.
Thank you so much, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu. Yes, very, very nice. Yes, we need to always remember we are in the middle of the Bhadra campaign. Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu himself is an amazing example. He's there constantly doing book distribution, going out in the evenings, and just doing amazing work. So yes, we can all help the Sankirtan team just by speaking. Pick up the phone and speak to a few of your contacts and introduce them to Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you don't have the confidence to explain everything, put them in touch with devotees like Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu and other devotees we know on this call. Okay, certainly, Hemangi Mataji, people like that, just put them in touch. And these are experienced book distributors who will go around and explain things to them. So yeah, there are many good distributors on this group. So yeah, thank you so much. Question from no, that's already done. Okay, yeah, okay. So if there's no more comments, devotees, thank you so much for joining. Shailesh Prabhu just wanted to make a comment. I got your message. We've discussed it, and the discussion is ongoing. Hopefully, we'll hear about some. The devotees have been very busy last few days, but it's going on, and hopefully, we'll come to some resolution soon.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, Vancha Kalpatarubhya Shikita Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki
Okay,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Prabhuji for wonderful class.
Nice class.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Bo. Thank
Hare
you.
Bo.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Umila Ben.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, there's a question here, but we are sorry too late. In two separate account buckets that go down and decided to okay. We'll address it next time.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Govinda Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, this Thursday, we are having this festival, Milton Keynes Festival.
Yeah.
And it's in the hall where there'll be 20 Brahmin coming.
Okay.
With Kirtan, and we have been for the last 2 weeks. We're giving out leaflet in the shopping center, and Brahmin came in to help us do the Harinam for the last 2 weeks. And this Thursday we're going to have the actual festival in the hall.
Very nice.
So we did cooking. Yeah, we did cooking for the Brahmin. That's why we are too busy to attend to the manor.
Okay.
So please forgive us. We are doing some service.
Very nice.
Thank you,
so much
Prabhu.
for wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Kata Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Okay.
you for that beautiful class.
Thank you for your association always, Hare Krishna. And thank you for your encouragement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jyoti Mataji.
you.
Wonderful service you're giving us with your.
No,
with
Prabhuji,
recording.
no. No, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hmm.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.